Hello and welcome to Bewildering Studio. My name is Quill and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some ways to get some free or otherwise cheap art supplies when you're having a hard time finding things that are affordable and when you are trying a new craft that you may or may not be 100% sold on and you don't want to invest in buying a whole bunch of supplies for that craft. Just to find out, you may or may not want to stick with it. So before we get started, go check in the description box below because I have added a freebie. I'm trying to do freebies in all of my new videos, but I haven't decided which one that I'm going to do yet. So go check and see what I decided, but it'll be a free PDF download ready for you to just go download off of my website. And while you're down there, please give me a like and subscribe so that I can meet my goal of 10,000 gajillion followers by the end of 2025. All right, let's get started. So I have my notes here so I don't forget anything. I took some notes earlier. And the first place that I want to talk to you guys is free sample websites and trial product tester programs. So there's a lot of trial testing programs where basically you can go and you can apply and then they'll send you some products and you review them. Usually it takes a set amount of time. When I was doing it, certain ones would tell me like, okay, use this for like 2 weeks and then you would have to take pictures. You may or may not have to take pictures, but they'll usually give you like a questionnaire on what you thought about the product and you have a space to like add some notes and then they'll send you compensation for it. So the supplies will be free and the compensation is either the products themselves or in addition a little bit of money, typically in like gift cards and things like that. This is something that I did back in college, so I don't have any at the top of my head, but I'm going to do a little bit of research. And if I find any current ones that I think will be beneficial, then I will link them in my description box. The second one that I want to talk to you guys about is Facebook. So Facebook has a plethora of things that you can explore because not only do they have Facebook Marketplace, which is something that I want to talk about specifically, but also they have no buy and like trading in your area web groups, Facebook groups. So these ones typically will give you a little questionnaire before they'll invite you or before they'll accept you. But typically they just ask you like where you are from. So like, for example, if it's a specific city or a specific state that it's a no buy group for, they'll just want to make sure that you give them your zip code or just like ensure them like, yes, I live here in this group, because they try to keep it exclusive to those people so you don't get a lot of spamming or people from way out there in a totally different place that the other members are not going to be able to get to anyway. But those groups, a lot of times people will be just posting stuff to get rid of it, and some people will actually post like in search of or like willing to trade for. So if you have something that they might like, they might be willing to give you supplies that you need. As far as Facebook goes, I do have a couple of tips specifically for them. I've noticed some patterns on the type of people that are getting rid of things. So one of them is people who are moving really quickly. So these people are going to be willing to offer the things that belong to them for a very cheap price because they just need to get their stuff out of there so that they can move smoothly and they don't have to go to Value Village. Oh my gosh, I'm choking and dying. Sorry. They don't want to go to Value Village and drop it off. I've noticed that there are a lot of parents who are trying to get rid of stuff, like usually like around the end of the school year. Their kids are like getting abundance of supplies, maybe like crayons, paper, paints, you know, things like that. And they want to like refresh their stock, get rid of the old, in with the new kind of deal. And also teachers especially. I've gotten so many cool things from teachers who they either retired or they're remodeling their classroom and they're getting rid of stuff. I've actually found a lot of like display stuff too for my farmers markets that I go to for fairly cheap. And then the last one is older people who have been collecting for years and years and years, and they either don't want to continue their crafting because they're doing less with their time, so that they can focus on other priorities and it's just kind of like on the back burner and it's taking up space, or like they've been investing so many years just collecting that they've gotten to the point where they're like, okay, I need to get rid of this, but they're not going to charge you for the full price that they've paid for it in the beginning, so a $20 stamp originally will be like $1, $4 for a rubber stamp. And so, well, another little sad one with that, there are some people that I found that are relatives of people who've passed away and they need to get rid of their stuff, and I've actually had like people be like, bring boxes and just take whatever. And it's just because their family member isn't there to enjoy them anymore and they need that taken care of. One of the things that I suggest, just to be polite and mindful, is make sure you read their description very carefully on their listings and be mindful of the things that they're requesting of you. Some people will say like, if my post is still up, then don't come at me with like, is this still available? It's a waste of time. I'm getting those all day. Tell me when you can meet up. And if they have a specified location, be respectful and make sure that before you message them, you know for a fact that you can meet at that location, and time of day and things like that. Not everybody will give that information in their description, but a lot of people do, so make sure that you're mindful and you read the information before you ask them a question. And I would suggest not to ask people to go lower in price if you feel like it's already affordable. Don't be like, oh, can I just have it? Like, oh, you're only charging $5. Like, do you really need that? I would be mindful of that, because people who go in and they're not automatically saying that their things are for free, they may just need the money. I've had really intense situations where I've sold things that I knew that I wanted to keep, but it was the only way that I could get money for gas to pick up my son, or money for a hotel because I didn't have anywhere to stay. And it can be kind of disrespectful and frustrating when people are like lowballing you. So it's one thing if somebody's like, oh, like, this is something I've had in my grudge for a long time, like I want $25. It's like, do you mind if I just like spot you at 20? Like, really think about it before you ask questions, and make sure that if you really feel like you cannot pay for it, you don't waste this person's time. But I can assure you, there's tons of things on there. I've seen canvas paintings that are already painted and people are like, oh, you could just paint over them for free. I've seen a ton of like paints and like rubber stamps and just like scrap paper, old vintage newspapers and things like that. There's so many cool things that you can find on these marketplaces, and even check OfferUp as well. Any platform that's intended for people to sell things within their community rather than like an Etsy shop or eBay or Amazon, something that's just regular people selling things, you're going to be able to find really good deals. So check out those marketplaces, check out Facebook Market, check out OfferUp, check out the Buy Nothing groups. The next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is thrift stores. I found full packets of scrapbook paper that is pristine, like no missing pages at all, and they're literally $5 to $7, and these go for $20 to $25 at Michael's. So check out those places. They're usually like in the home goods areas, but they can literally just be mixed up with anything. I know Value Villages have like specific sections for craft supplies that are in little bags, like hung up on a wall. And they're, I think maybe like 2 weeks ago, I found an entire bag about this big, just packed full of totally new in package squares of Sculpey clay, and the entire set was $3. And if you know that those are like $3 to $7 per little square, and I got, God, probably close to 20 of them for $3. So really go check in those bags, check in the kids supplies, like in the toy area and things like that. Check over by the linens, because you may find some really good sewing supplies over there. That's kind of like another little mini hack I'm throwing in there, is if you do like sewing bed sheets, it really depends on what product that you're trying to make, but sometimes people will accidentally put fabric inside with like the sheets and things like that. So just explore tablecloths you can sew and make projects out of. but I know that that might be a little funky for some people who want specific types of material. If you're very like intent on using specific materials and you don't want to use a tablecloth or a bed sheet, then I mean that's your personal choice. But I usually try to get anything that I can upcycle that I can to be able to make the products that I want, the projects that I want to make, because I really just make the most of what I have, and I make the most of if I find something that someone's getting rid of, I will swipe that up, unless of course I feel like I don't already have something in my mind that I can use it for, because I do try to be mindful of like, this person's getting rid of something because they don't want it. Do I actually have a use for it? Because if I don't take it on and somebody else doesn't take it on, it's not that serious for them to just drop it off at a Goodwill. You may be saving them a step by taking it on, but then you have the responsibility of using it, and then if you don't, then you're gonna have to get rid of it. You're just transferring the problem to yourself. And so just, if somebody's trying to give you something, or somebody's just trying to get rid of something for free and you just aren't so 100% with your heart in wanting it, that wasn't a heart, there we go, that's a heart, then just politely refuse it. The next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is grocery stores. So grocery stores aren't really intended to be like huge suppliers of art supplies. They'll usually just have like one small section. I typically like Walmart supplies because they have a really good variety. They have everything from jewelry making, wood crafts, painting and canvases, sketchbooks and things like that. And then kids crafts. So I've seen like little sets that are already like pre-put together, like a little like window glass plastic thingies that they like paint in between the lines. I've seen clothing dyes and things like that. Those are usually pretty affordable. So if you are deciding to go to a store that's like a grocery store, you might have to look around or ask questions, because it's usually only going to be like 1 or 2 aisles. I found that at Fred Meyer, their pants, it's like little bottles about this tall. They're only like $1.19, which is great. But they are cheaper at Walmart. So I would just explore, like, you don't even have to go all out, but like if you're already going to the grocery store for groceries, just kind of like stake it out and see what supplies they have available. The dollar store, Dollar Tree, things like that, they have a surprising amount of art supplies and school supplies, so be sure to check them out. I get a lot of my painting stuff from there. So like I get these little like nail daughters, and I use a lot of dots and detailing in my projects, so like those actually come in 2-packs. So that's really awesome. They even have like yarn and like I think it's like 12 by 12 fabric pieces and things like that. So that's a really valuable place to go to for cheap supplies. Things for like wreath making. I can go on and on and on, but just like go check it out. Go to the store, go see what they got. The next place that I'm gonna talk to you guys about is estate sales and yard sales. I've gotten just like bags of like threads and oh my god, I can't speak words, scrapbooking supplies. So just go check those places out. Facebook Market will advertise them. Driving around on a Sunday, the summer, everybody is having yard sales in the summer. I've gotten so many cheap things. I've gotten like really beautiful like dishes, like things that like people don't have all of the pieces for like a set of dishes. They'll get rid of them, and those are really great for like breaking up and making into like what are those little, it starts with an M, mosaic projects. So check those out. You can also get old books. I really love making junk journals, and old books and like recipe cards are really fun to put in little pockets of the journals. And a lot of people have like collaging items and things like that, buttons. So that's all I have as far as places to go to get free or cheap art supplies. Another way you can obtain supplies to make crafts out of is actually just to make them from things that you already have in your home. And this is where more of the creativity aspect comes out of it. So I do have plastic stencils that I bought from the store, but many times I want a very specific image, and I will actually hand draw once. And when I have the image how I want it, I'll cut it out of a piece of paper. And this is so great because you can use up like scrap paper that you would normally throw away. So a lot of times when I'm making my son's homeschool work and we print, like we have like a misprint or something, I'll keep those misprinted papers and I'll use them to make my stencils. So for example, last time I did this, I made like a shape of like a butterfly. I drew a butterfly on the copy paper, I cut it out, and I glued it to a cereal box cardboard, and I cut that out. So cereal boxes are great because they're thin and they're easy to cut, and they're also easy to trace after that, and they're a little bit sturdier than just a piece of paper, and you can use them over and over and over again. So you literally don't have to buy anything because you've already got this stuff and it will be recycled, and now you have a free art supply. Another thing that I like to do is use cardboard or like old book spines for my junk journals, for the covers of them. I make glass bottles into cool potion bottle decor, like the beer bottles. I spray them with gesso, I paint them, and I add labels to them, and I sell them as mantle decor or for like your bookshelf. And you can literally get these beer bottles from, if you live in, oh my gosh, this is gonna be me tattling on myself. If you live in an apartment complex, people usually will throw things in the dumpster. If you're not that serious, if that's a little cringy for you, don't worry about it. But I mean, if you're with it, you're with it. So it's out there. If you have friends who are having a party or a barbecue, just collect those bottles home. I also like to keep the caps, and I make earrings out of them. You can see those on my eBay shop, which is also listed in the description box below. And while I'm at it talking about my shop, if you go into my shop, even if you're not buying anything, check out the materials that I'm using, because most of the products that I have are made from upcycled materials. That's kind of my deal. That's kind of my brand. So if you're not really in the market for purchasing gifts for people, still go to my eBay shop, because you can look for inspiration and materials that you can use that you may not have even thought of being art supplies. The next thing I wanted to talk about is school supplies. So literally like anything that you already have on hand. Maybe you have it like just like pushed in a box in your garage because you're not in school anymore, or maybe you are in school and you just have like Sharpie markers and things like that. It's like a dual purpose, you know, project posters that maybe you already did a presentation and you have all this construction paper, or like just rip apart your poster board because you have all of these pieces that you already got graded for, and now you can just repurpose them. I do have a little hack for painters specifically. So I have a hack that I kind of figured out on accident. I was thinning out my acrylic paint too much back when I was in college, and I realized like if you put too much water in your acrylic paint, it actually is a little more transparent and it looks like watercolor. So rather than purchasing a watercolor palette and acrylic paint, just buy acrylic paint and you can do acrylic painting projects and you can do watercolor painting projects. So little life hack. Also, dyeing paper for junk journals or for greeting cards. I like to dye them in old coffee grounds. So I'll just like brew a cup of coffee and I will just drink my coffee, and when I have some leftovers, I'll pour them into a bowl, and then I'll soak my bottle labels for my upcycled beer bottles. I'll like cut them out and I'll soak them in a bowl of that leftover coffee, and they get like a cool vintage color, that little like tan color. And then also I do have like leftover like broken up pieces of like watercolor, and I'll put them in a glass like basin, and I will pour boiling water over the top, and I'll mix up the watercolor, and I'll soak paper in the watercolor, and then I'll just take a big towel and I'll pull it out and I will dry the pieces on the towel. That's a good way to use up those. So check out my description because I have some more valuable information in there, links to all of my socials and my website. And if you can get a hold of whatever mystery freebie that I have in there, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter where you're on my website, because I do freebies for my newsletter subscribers, and they are different from the freebies that I put in my YouTube videos because they're specifically exclusively for subscribers. So yeah, go check that out. I really appreciate you watching till the end of this video. I know it's kind of casual because I'm literally just like sitting in my car, but I'm actively on my way to go to the grocery store. So I thought that I would use this time to do that and just let you guys know what's on my mind. And yeah, just have a good time, get creative, and I'll see you next time. Bye.